Dear learners, welcome you all to e-learning platform. This is week 3. In this week you are going to learn a new poem by Keats. The title of the poem is Ode on a Grecian Urn. Me, Faisal Ahmed, as usual with you throughout the whole lecture. Faculty member, Department of English, World University of Bangladesh. Let's begin. Beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all you need know on earth and all you need to know.
Ode on a Grecian Urn by Keats.
Grecian Urn is a symbol of beauty and of immortality, whilst at the same time reminding human beings of just how brief their own life and passions are in comparison. First of all, let's recite the poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn by Keats. Thou still unravished bride of quietness, thou foster child of silence and slow time, sylvan historian who canst thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme, what leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape, of deities or mortals or of both. In temper, the dales of Arcady, what manner gods are these? What maiden sloth? What mad pursuit? What struggle to escape? What pipes and timbrels? What wild ecstasy? Stanza 2. Hard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore ye soft pipes play on, not to the sensual air, but more endeared, pipe to the spirit, ditties of no tongue. Fair youths beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Bold lover, never canst thou kiss, though winning near the goal, yet do not grieve. She cannot fade, thou hast not thy bliss. Forever wilt thou love, and she be fair. Stanza 3. Ah, happy, happy boughs that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu, and happy melodist, unwearied, forever piping songs, forever new, more happy love, more happy, happy love, forever warm and still to be enjoyed, forever panting and forever young, all breathing human passion far above, that lives a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Stanza 4. Who art this coming to the sacrifice? To what green altar, O mysterious priest? Leasest thou that heifer lowing at the skies, and all her silken flanks with garlands dressed? What little town by river or seashore, or mountain built with pitchful citadel? is emptied of this folk, this pious morn, and little town, thy streets forevermore will silent be, and not a soul to tell why thou art desolate, can never return. Stanza 5. O Attic shape, fair attitude, with bread of marble man and maidens overwrought, with forest branches and the trodden weed, thou silent form dost tease us out of thought, as doth eternity cold pastoral. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other woe. Then ours a fan to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all ye know on earth, and all ye need to know. That's the end of the poem. Now we're gonna know the summary, details and about the poem, and also the theme symbols used in the poem as well. So Grecian Urn is an urn made in Greece in the first millennium BC. To say literally. Summary of the poem. Keats imagines urn is addressed as if he were contemplating a real urn. It has survived intact from antiquity. It is a Sylvan historian telling us a story, an object which tells a story through its engravement on it, which the poet suggests by a series of questions. Who are these gods or men carved or painted on the urn? Who are these reluctant maidens? What is this mad pursuit? Why the struggle to escape? What is the explanation for the presence of musical instruments? Why this mad ecstasy? Imagined melodies are lovelier than those heard by human ears. Therefore, the poet urges the musician pictured on the urn to play on and on. His song can never end, nor the trees ever shed their leaves. So this is a sign of immortality. The lover on the urn can never win a kiss from his beloved, but his beloved can never lose her beauty. Happy are the trees on the urn, for they can never lose their leaves. Happy is the musician forever playing songs forever new. The lovers on the urn enjoy a love forever warm, forever panting, and forever young, far better than actual love, which faded away, which eventually brings frustration and dissatisfaction. Who are the people coming to perform a sacrifice? To what altar does the priest lead a garlanded heifer? What town do they come from? That town will forever remain silent and deserted. Fair urn, Keats says, adorned with figures of man and maidens, trees and grass, you bring our speculations to a point at which thought leads nowhere, like meditation on eternity. After our generation is gone, you will still be here, a friend to man, telling him that beauty is truth and truth is beauty. So who is the teller? The Grecian Urn itself is the teller of the story to the next generation. That is all he knows on earth and all he needs to know. So let's know about the poem. Ode on a Grecian Urn was written by the influential English poet John Keats in 1819. It is a complex, mysterious poem with a disarmingly simple setup. An undefined speaker looks at a Grecian urn which is decorated with evocative images of rustic and rural life in ancient Greece. These scenes fascinate, mystify, and excite the speaker in equal measure in the museum. The scene, probably John Keats visited a museum and saw these Grecian urns and from that vision and imagination he wrote this poem. So they seem to have captured life in its fullness, yet are frozen in time. So the story portrayed on the urn is like an evergreen and always eternal thing, which always tells a story from generation after generation. The speaker's response shifts through different moods, and ultimately the urn provokes questions more than it provokes answers. The poem's ending has been and remains the subject of varied interpretation. The urn seems to tell the speaker and in turn the reader that truth and beauty are one and the same. Keats wrote this poem in a great burst of creativity that also produced his other famous odes like Ode to a Nightingale. Though this poem was not well received in Keats' day while he was alive, it has gone on to become one of the most celebrated in the English language and literature. Structure of the poem. Ode on a Grecian Urn is organized into 10-line stanzas and comprised of total five stanzas, beginning with an ABAB rhyme scheme and ending with a Miltonic sestet, that is first and fifth stanza CD, ED, CE, second stanza rhyming scheme is CD, EC, ED, and third and fourth stanzas rhyming schemes are CD, EC, and DE. So altogether 50 lines. Themes, major themes. Innocence. The urn represents an innocent world, unaffected by the suffering and hardship that come with change. The trees never have to deal with losing their leaves. Losing their leaves. The violent sacrifice of a cow hasn't been committed yet, and even the urn itself is unravished or pure. By the end of the poem, however, the speaker begins to wonder if what he took for innocence might actually be a form of cold distance and alienation. Sexual desire is a form of innocence in the poem. Transience. The people on this urn never have to deal with changes in their world. Their world is permanently frozen in a single moment. The poem contrasts the timeless world of the urn with the upside down hourglass that is human life, that is very temporal. In the real world, joyful panting after an erotic chase can easily turn into a fever and a bad case of dry mouth. What was once sweet can become a cloying mass. Next theme, the temporal and the eternal. Keats dwells in his poem on the pleasure and pain of art. In stanza 4, the beautiful procession is made permanent by the artist's skill, so the people cannot return to a town now made eternally desolate by their absence. The image also reminds us that the real people who inspired the image are now dead in the remote past, because art fixes things and seems to make them eternal. It also reminds us that we have to live in a world of inevitable decay and death. Next theme, wisdom and knowledge. The speaker turns to the urn as a source of wisdom and knowledge. We take it that he is feeling down on life and love and needs some good advice. And who better to give advice than a 1,000-year-old pot or urn? At first, it's not clear what kind of help the urn can be, seeing as the world it depicts is so different from that of the speaker. But at the end of the poem, it delivers the message that beauty and truth are one and the same. What exactly this means has been a mystery ever since. Next theme. It's hard to tell the difference between sex and love in this poem, despite being a huge romantic Keats was a realist on matters of love. He knew that just because you want to be with someone one moment doesn't mean you will love them forever. So, when love and romance exist, and it exists until the time of sex, and when sex happens, love and romance stop to happen or end. The speaker proposes the ideal solution to the transience of our erotic feelings. We just have to stop time right before the act of sex and remain the movement of joyful anticipation forever, just in the love and romance. Art and cultures, another theme in the poem. Few people have defended the value of art quite like John Keats. He goes so far as to suggest that the most powerful truths are to be found only in art. This has led some people to criticize him for worshipping dead, inanimate objects like the urn of this poem. But that's probably too simplistic of a view. More likely, Keats believed that truth was conveyed through emotions and experiences, not logic or arguments, and that the greatest truths could only be expressed in silence. The urn, for example, has been sitting in ruins or in some dusty room for thousands of years in the museum, waiting for sensitive souls like the speaker to come by and listen with a spiritual air. And of course, the same could be said of Keats' poem, which is just a collection of words on a page until the reader approaches it with the right attitude of discovery. Like an archaeological object which tells so many stories behind it. Now, let's talk about symbol in the poem. The ode is literally a series of images which are described and reflected upon. The Grecian Urn symbolizes an important paradox for Keats. It is a work of applied art, urns being associated with death, silent, motionless, and made out of cold materials, yet at the same time it moves him with its vitality and its imaginative depictions of music, passion, and sacrifice. It is a symbol of beauty and of immortality, whilst at the same time reminding human beings of just how brief their own life and passions are in comparison. The urn itself is a symbol. The urn itself is referred to in a series of images as a bride of quietness, a child of silence and time, as a teller of pastoral stories, a shapely yet silent tease, a friend to humanity, as a wise soothsayer. The dominant image of the urn in the final stanza is as a cold pastoral. The phrase suggests that although its beauty cannot fade, it cannot be part of the warmth and emotional intensity which comes from being human. Now, critical analysis of the poem. If the Ode to a Nightingale portrays Keats' speaker's engagement with the fluid expressionism of music, the Ode on a Grecian Urn portrays his attempt to engage with the static immobility of sculpture. So, Ode to a Nightingale is about music, eternal music, and Ode on a Grecian is about the immobility of sculpture and its inevitable power of telling the story generation after generation. The Grecian urn passed down through countless centuries to the speaker's viewing, exists outside of time in the human sense. It does not age, it does not die, and indeed it is alien to all such concepts. In the speaker's meditation, this creates an intriguing paradox for the human figures carved into the side of the urn. They are free from time, but they are simultaneously frozen in time. They do not have to confront again aging and death. Their love is forever young, but neither can they have experience. The youth can never kiss the maiden. The figures in the procession can never return to to their homes. The speaker attempts 3 times to engage with scenes carved into the urn. Each time he asks different questions of it. In the first instance, he examines the picture of the mad pursuit and wonders what actual story lies behind the picture. What mad gods are these? What maidens love? Of course, the urn can never tell him the whos, whats, whens, and wheres of the stories it depicts, and the speaker is forced to abandon this line of questioning. Conclusion. The poem's final lines are Keats' aphorism, final aphorism. The poem's final lines are famous but have also been much discussed and have caused much critical disagreement. One reason for this is that there is disagreement about the punctuation of lines. In the volume of poems that Keats published in 1820, they are presented as follows: beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know. There has also been dispute about what all ye know means. Is it that we are meant to believe that beauty is truth, is a profound philosophical statement, or a simplification of something very mysterious? So that's the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for being with me.